Hey there, so today we're going to make ChatGPT or any other tool to write in your tone, your style, and so on. So how do we do that? First thing, what you're gonna need is you're gonna have to give it content examples. So put your blog posts if you have them, so the ones that you wrote yourself, or if you found someone who speaks like you, so their tone, their style, everything is very similar to you, then copy their blog posts. Like 2 blog posts is gonna be enough. It's not that you're stealing from them, it's just you are gonna put this document into ChatGPT or Claude or whatever tool you're using so that it's gonna analyze. Now, first things first, you will have to have ChatGPT 4.0. So it is a free version. I think everyone now has that version because ChatGPT 3.5 does not support files, so you can't attach files. If you're a paid member of ChatGPT 4, you can use ChatGPT 4 or 4.0. That's all up to you. Also, there's Claude, and I use it for free, so I'm sure you can do this on Claude too. So first, what I want you to do is find that content. So you can put 2 of your blog posts into a document or someone else's who has the same tone and style as you, and then download it as TXT file, okay? Because you don't need images inside. So I'm gonna just walk you through the conversation I had. So you see all of these prompts here and okay, where is it? Here and so on. You're gonna get them, so don't worry. You don't need to pause the video and retype them. So don't worry, I'm gonna give you all of this at the end of the video, but I just wanted to make it, a conversation here in ChatGPT so that it's already done, so you don't have to wait for a whole hour to see the whole example, right? So that I wouldn't be typing all of these prompts in here while you're watching because the video would be too long. So I uploaded the content examples. How I did that is first I went to ChatGPT 4 or ChatGPT 4.0. In this case, I just chose ChatGPT 4.0 because it's faster. And I clicked on this button and I uploaded from my computer the document. Okay, because if you downloaded it, you obviously have it on your computer. You could also add from your Google Drive. So if you connected those two, you can, get it from Google Drive if you put the content into Google Docs. So you upload that and you tell it to act as a content analysis expert and to analyze the PDF and tell you what it noticed about the tone, style, and so on. So again, don't worry, you're gonna get this at the end of the video. So it did a good job. It explained the tone, style, the sentence length, the relatability with the audience, empathy, and so on and so on. The same thing happened with Claude. So I gave it the prompt. I uploaded the file here. So I just clicked here, got my file on my computer, gave it this prompt, and it did the same thing. It analyzed everything, right? So what I want you to do now is open Google Docs and copy from Claude if you're using Claude or ChatGPT. I did both, but they basically did the same thing. They analyzed the same documents, so they did the same thing. So you can copy from ChatGPT, paste it in your Google Doc. And first of all, don't worry about this. This is the next step that I'm going to tell you about. But for now, what you need to do is copy what ChatGPT came up with, right? So just copy, paste it in here. And if you used also Claude or Perplexity or whatever tool, you can again copy and paste it in here. I'm not going to give you this file because obviously we're going to have all different tones and styles, okay? So do that first. Do not close this window. Just type in at the top of your document, just type in important. I took a personality test and I'm an and whatever you're going to get from the personality test. Now you might be like, but what are you talking about? What is this? Go to 16personalities.com. Okay, so this website, and you're going to take the personality test. Okay, and you're going to get results. I don't think they're quite accurate because it says that I'm 63% introverted. If we would go out for a cup of coffee, you would see I'm definitely not. I'm more like an ambivert and slight extrovert. It depends, it depends about of the surroundings and people there and so on. So you see here, I'm an advocate, and this is the gibberish, I guess, or the, I don't know, whatever this is called. So this is what I put in here. That's who I am, even though, like it depends how you feel when you're doing the test and so on. So yeah, I'm going to leave the link down to this 16personalities.com down below so you can do the test and just put your results in here and say something like this, important. I took a personality test and I'm this, whatever you get. Then click file, download as TXT. So I already did that, and I went back to ChatGPT. I uploaded the same way here, upload from computer, and I gave it this prompt. So I told it at the end of the prompt, I said, before you start, please ask me any clarifying questions. And sometimes ChatGPT, for whatever reason, it does not listen to that last step. So in this case it did, but if for some reason ChatGPT just starts creating your prompt tag, just tell it, hey, you missed this step where I asked you to ask me any clarifying questions. And then it's going to ask you questions. So in this case, it started with, what is the main objective of the content you typically create? Is it to educate, inspire, promote products, or a mix of those? So I said it's a mix of those, right? Because obviously I promote sometimes, I share, I promote my freebies and so on, and I also teach and whatever. So you're gonna reply however you're gonna reply. This is gonna be different for all of us. Then second one, could you confirm that this is your audience? And I said, yes, this is my primary audience. And by the way, when you're replying to questions, so you see first question, you do one dot, and then you reply. You just reply. I use a mix of those. When you're replying, so let's say we replied to number one. Number two, do not hit enter. So when you reply to question number one, you want to reply to question number two, but you want to go to the next line. Don't just hit enter. Click shift and hold it and then hit enter. So you're going to get into a new line, because if you just hit enter, it's going to push this information, whatever gibberish we gave it here, it's going to give it to ChatGPT and it's going to just start creating. And that's not what you want. You want to first reply to all of the questions. Now, here's the thing. Themes and topics do not matter for prompt tags. So here, number 3 reply that I gave is, I don't want you to worry about the themes and topics. You're not going to add this in the prompt tag for ChatGPT. Number 4 is preferred content format. And I said that it's not important because a content format, that's not going to be in the prompt tag. We just want to describe the tone, the style, all of that. So number 5 was brand personality traits. If I have any, if I want to emphasize something, and I said I am someone who is witty, so funny or whatever, and when it's appropriate, I use humor. Well, sometimes also when it's not appropriate, but whoops. So and what I value most, because it asked me about my values, what I value most is freedom. So time and money freedom. That's like my top, that's my goal and value in everything, okay? So number 6 was visual preferences and so on. And I said that's not important because it's not going to be in the prompt tag. So visuals, what else? Formats and themes and topics, that's not going to be in the prompt tag. It's all about what's it called, tone, style. Maybe you want to include a little bit about your audience, you know, and so on. So when I gave it the responses, and by the way, I did the same thing in Claude. I want to show you 2 tools basically. So I did the same thing. I told it to ask me clarifying questions when I uploaded the tone and style. So it asked me the same thing here. You want to reply number 1. When you reply, hit or hold shift, hit enter, reply to number 2, hold shift and enter, and so on. So you reply again, whatever it asks you, but again, topics and themes are not going to be inside, so that's not important. Specific phrases, if you want to use that, but I don't use any specific phrases except the F word sometimes. No, but I don't want that in my content all the time, right? But anyway, let's move on. Number 5 is my writing style. If I feel it wasn't fully captured, so in here, but I believe that Claude and ChatGPT analyzed those content examples, so blog posts or whatever you gave it, they both did a great job. So I just said that everything was captured, except this is something specific for me, because if you didn't notice, I have an accent. Why? Because I'm from Europe and English is not my first language. So I wanted this tool to know. So I said that you need to know that English is not my first language, so I don't speak as good as someone from USA. My vocabulary is a little bit more small. So when I replied, it again did reply back to me, and it did a prompt tag. This is not a prompt tag, and same thing happened here. It is not a prompt tag. So I don't know why. I learned some of these steps from Jonathan Mast, and I followed exactly to the T all of his prompts and so on, but it did not work out for me. I don't know. I got a really weird prompt tag. Well, basically, first of all, I didn't get a prompt tag. This is just a description, right? A prompt tag is this. And don't worry, I'm gonna explain everything, but this is not a prompt tag. And even when I did give it a prompt tag from Jonathan, his example, it did a better job here, right? But following Jonathan's steps, I figured out that the content was still not my style, no matter what I did, because with his steps, we actually had to explain who we like for example, let's say I really loved Jan Sincero. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. She wrote the book You're a Badass, and also book You're a Badass at Making Money, and I love that book. I love her style and humor and all of that. But when I used that prompt tag, so, you know, something similar to this, it just, oh my God, the content was so weird that I was like, no, I'm gonna figure out my own way. And this is the way that I'm showing you right now how I did it. So basically analyzing the content, your own content if you give it, or a blog post from someone else, or blog posts from someone else. So basically, because it didn't give us, not ChatGPT and not Claude, it didn't give us a prompt tag like this, I told it, this is not a prompt tag. The example below is a prompt tag, but don't use any information from it. So when you're gonna use these prompts, don't change them up. Because if you put this out, if you just delete this, ChatGPT or whatever tool you're using might use some of my examples here and put them into your tag. But what if you don't speak like that? right? So this is just an example, and I wanted to give it to ChatGPT and Claude to see what a prompt tag is, what I mean by that, right? So here's a prompt tag, and then it did a way better job, right? Same thing here. It did gibberish here, and I told it that's not a prompt tag. I give it the same example, and it did a better job. Now, you see this prompt tag is super long. I want you to test it out. Save this into wherever you're saving stuff, right? And use this, because here we said, please optimize the content above for ChatGPT and make it shorter. Basically, make it a prompt tag that's shorter than this one, right? It again did whatever this is called, because this is not what we want. We want this style. This is not what we want. I told it, no, I still want a prompt tag like the example I showed you with delimiters. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but shorter. So it apologized. How nice, right? And it did a shorter version. So the same thing happened here. It did kind of like a ChatGPT prompt tag, but everything's in a new line and so on. So I again told it that's not what I want. I still want it to look like a prompt tag as the example, just shorter, right? And it did its job. However, notice this. Where is it? Promote freedom. See, all of it is together, even though obviously there should be a space in between. So you can just copy this and fix it up, make spaces in between. The same thing happened with Claude. It didn't make any spaces, even though, you know, ChatGPT or Claude or any other tool can still understand this prompt tag. But what I want you to do, as I said before, save both this prompt tag that's longer and this one that's shorter, and start testing them out. Because I started not too long ago, just a couple of days ago, and I don't have enough information and feedback from which one works best. I think it depends on which tool you use, what you use it for. Like if you're writing a blog post, it's probably going to be slightly different than a social media post and so on. But yeah, test out both prompt tags, the longer one, and use it and test it out. And it's not enough to test it out on one example. So let's say you're writing social media content, you use this, and you're like, oh, it doesn't work that well. What if you write an email and it works better than if you give it shorter prompt tag, right? Just saying, keep testing, because you never know. It depends on which tool you're using, what you want it to create, and so on. So keep testing. And before I go, I have to tell you about this three, what are those, quotation marks. You can put 3 quotation marks in front and in the back like this, or 3 hashtags at the front and at the back. And that's going to tell ChatGPT or whatever AI tool you're using that this information is really important, and it should follow it. It should do what it says here. So it's going to write more in this tone, style, and so on. Okay? Now test it out and start seeing, like, here it says that I'm unique because I'm a non-native English speaker. I don't know if that's being unique, but I've tested this prompt out, and it actually used this information in my social media post. And it said, because I'm a non-native English speaker, blah, blah, blah. And it made no sense. I was like, no. So check out what information the ChatGPT or whatever tool you're using is using. And if you don't want that in your content, just take it out, right? Delete it. That's how you will know which prompt tag is working best for you. Only if you start using it and testing it out, because no one can give you the best of the best. There's always, you know, AI is changing all the time, so we have to change with it. So test, tweak, see for yourself what works best. And now for all of those prompts that you see here, so that you don't need to retype them, I'm gonna put the link down below with the name. So basically you're gonna go and grab it on my email. Well, you're gonna get it through my email. All of this is gonna be through email. I'm gonna link to this video through that email also, so that you can keep rewatching this and just going through all of the steps. And if you don't understand something, just reach out to me. There's also all social media sites where I'm at. You can follow me there. But yeah, this is how you're gonna get ChatGPT or AI to talk more like you, in your tone, in your style. Of course, it's not going to be perfect, so don't think it's going to be like, oh, it created great content for me, I'm just going to copy, paste, and post. No, you always have to fact check. So the facts that ChatGPT or whatever tool gives you, is it true? Okay. And also rewrite some stuff. Like if it starts using the word awesome, but you usually use the word amazing, just change that, switch that for, switch the word awesome for amazing. You're still going to have to fix up your content, to sound more like you, because AI tools are assistants. They're not there to do everything for you. And you're just going to be there, on the beach, drinking coconut water and be like, I don't need to do anything. No, you will still have to do stuff, okay? So thank you for watching this video. And again, all of the prompts and everything you can get through the link down below. So yeah, let me know how this goes and see you in the next video.